you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.
Hey guys, welcome into Wager Talk TV. This is Puck Time for Wednesday, January 25th. We are happy to be here. Of course, I'm Andrew McGinnis, and I have Carmine Bianco and Lawrence, the Prez, here with us in his usual spot. We've got 4 games to break down, a little more of a quiet Wednesday as far as the NHL slate is concerned, but we do have some games to go over. And I'm happy with a 2-0 night in the NHL. I had the team total over for the Pittsburgh Penguins, over 3.5. We got 3 goals in the first period, so that was always nice. Just needed one more. And, of course, JT Miller over 2.5 shots on goal. That also cashed in the first period. And, Carm, you're on a really good run, man. I believe it's like 10-2, and you also cashed your 5% play, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, thanks. It's actually good to get one of those no-sweat type games. The Sabres scored a couple goals within the first minute and a half of that game, and I thought to myself, I just need some contribution from St. Louis. But the Sabres, kind of impressed by them. 9 points in the last 10 games. I think they're 2 points out of a playoff spot, and they're playing inspired hockey. They're going out and competing every single game. You look at some of the leans we had on yesterday's show. A couple got there, a couple of them didn't. Flyers lose in OT. I'm not sure if you saw that Flyers game. D'Angelo just who's hated by most anyways, pretty much goes after the ref in overtime because he was tripped. That led to a 2-on-1 and a goal the other way, and they lose in OT. And then that Pittsburgh Florida game. Andrew, we used to make fun of Alex Lyons. He's like an automatic over. He literally stood on his head in the last 2-3 minutes of that game for Florida against Pittsburgh, but the Pens get the win in OT against Florida. So it was pretty fun. 3-0 night, 20-5 NHL the last 7 days. So I'm pretty happy about it. And someone else cashed the 5% play, and the Leafs are playing tonight. So let's bring in the Prez.
What do I have to do with the Leafs playing tonight, Carmine Bianco?
Well, I talked about the Sabres. You are a diehard Leaf fan. You're plugged in and tuned into pretty much everything that goes on with the Leafs. So we expect a good prediction from you tonight on that one.
Oh, great. Awesome. No pressure at all. Love being on the show, guys. I cashed my 5% play last night, and I did get a beat of sweat, Carm. I was on Illinois -4 against Ohio State. Ohio State started the game 9-5 at around the 18-minute mark of the first half. I turned to Vivian, and I'm like, okay, it's a loser. And then we never looked back. Total freaking blowout. So I'm ecstatic. But, man, I am having... And I talked about this on Wager Talk today. I'm not kidding you guys. I'm having, from my perspective, a lifetime run in hoops. A run I've never in my life had a hoop season like this. And I lose a day and I think, oh my God, I'm going into a slump now. Then the next day I go 0-1 or 1-2, and I'm like, oh shit, it's begun. And then the following day, I go 5-0. It's been unbelievably consistent. I'm the number one CBB NBA expert at Wager Talk. I'm the number one NBA expert at Wager Talk. And the most impressive part about it, from my perspective, is it's been wire to wire. Literally from day one to now. I'm so excited about hoops right now. I mean, I'm on a 7-1 hoops run, a 5-0 college basketball run, a 29-11 NBA run. And none of that is even close to my strongest run of all, which is my 4% NHL totals run. 29-9 NHL 4% totals run, and I have one up tonight. Okay, I'm talking with Dan. Can we just
All right.
make the show about me, please?
You are a god amongst men. You are a god amongst men. What can I tell you? But I actually, in regards to hoops, because I don't bet a lot of hoops, but I'm watching a game in Vegas, and a few days ago, and it was unbelievable. If you guys in bet hoops, you must be. There's so many opportunities I got to guess to make money. The first thing I do is I look up at the screen and we're watching the games, and I see the Lakers are up 18-4 against Portland. We start watching some of the other games, and then I look back, and the Lakers are down 22 points or 23 points at halftime. And I turn to Rob, and I'm like, this is unbelievable. And then we see the highlights of the game because they switch screens, and the Lakers win by 9 points. It was the up 14, down 22, and win by 9. It's unbelievable. If you're in-game betting, you're getting plus on both sides throughout the game. So kudos to you. I can't do NBA in-game betting.
Carm, I just want to jump in real quick. Sorry, Andrew. It's super important for me. Listen, guys are getting sick of my promotions. We have one guy who just wrote, Jim Lloyd, Prez, we get it. So, Jim, you wrote that about a minute ago. It took me a minute to look up the fact that you don't get it. I know as a fact you don't get it because you're not a Hoops customer of mine. If you got it, you would be a Hoops customer of mine. I'm up 90 units this season. Why do we gamble? What is anyone else? What are you waiting for? So I understand that you think you get it, but when someone is winning in a sport every single day and you're not playing them, then you don't get it. With that said, I love you all. I'm going to shut up.
Speaking of not getting it, I'm not getting any texts with your NBA plays. That's what I'm not getting. And if
I'm
you're up
not getting
90
your
units,
beard. I don't even understand it.
I actually like it.
The mustache doesn't.
Yeah. It's gotten better. It's gotten better. You have to say it's gotten better. It's gotten better. Also, I had your streaks. I was going to mention them for you, but NBA and NCAA, it's not hard to be consistent like that with it. So 7-1 hoops run. Great stuff there, Prez. And totals in the NHL right now, too, have been pretty inconsistent. So although I've been talking mostly totals on the show, but with client plays, mostly side plays. Carm had a 5% last night. He won it. Prez had a 5% play last night. He won it. I have a 5% tennis play going very, very late tonight, Australian Open style. It's a totals play, guys, and I'm on a 12-2 totals run in tennis action. So it's a great way of avoiding high prices playing totals in tennis. And I've built up a pretty good record here, 12-2, and pretty low volume as we've gone with it. So check it out. It's a great price over at Wager Talk for that 5% tennis play. Going very, very late tonight. I guess it would be kind of tomorrow morning, I guess, but very, very late tonight. But today's games, let's get into some hockey talk here. Rangers, Leafs, Hurricanes, Stars, Jackets, Oilers, and the Canucks and the Seattle Kraken going head-to-head. Let's start things off with the New York Rangers, Toronto Maple Leafs here. The Maple Leafs are minus 160, Rangers plus 135, total at 6. Shaded towards the under here, minus 125 for the under. And, of course, that Maple Leafs team, what I would definitely say is a good performance. I mean, a team that I think when they're playing their best hockey, they're playing defensive hockey these days. I mean, it's a team that used to have to, be involved in these first to 4, first to 5 goals wins. And they also don't just have one goaltender now. They have a competitive back and forth goalie tandem with Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov, which has been really impressive to watch. But guys, when I take a look at this matchup, I like the under 6. I like it. I know it's shaded towards the under, but that's kind of where I'm looking here in this one. I don't love the price because I do think we're going to start to see the Rangers play some better hockey. They have been very inconsistent for a while. They just put up 6 goals on the Florida Panthers, but it was a kind of rough spot for the Rangers, for the Panthers in that spot. But I think that the true identity of the Rangers are protecting your own end, playing well in your own D zone, getting the puck out, creating chances, establishing possession, and they are not ultimately a high-scoring team. And I just got to say that I think the Maple Leafs are playing their best hockey when they're kind of involved in low-scoring games. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, Carmen. If I did, I apologize. It's not really anything to do with betting, but how is William Nylander not in the All-Star game? I mean, this format for the NHL playoffs and now the NHL format for the All-Star is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I have my fun joking around about the Leafs, but William Nylander is top 15, I believe, in points. He's, I think, has the most points on his team, maybe. And I don't know. It's shocking to see. I mean, I think that he deserves to be there with Mitch Marner. That's just my thoughts. But, Carm, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, Andrew, I'm with you on liking the under in this game, and if you guys like the under in this game, there's two ways to look at it. If I'll start with the under. If you like the under in this game, you should grab it now because the juice is either going to get a little higher, or this game is going to go to 5.5. It's already started. I saw a 5.5 pop up just before we went to air at one of the books on our live lines. This started at -120 to the over. It's now at -125 to the under. And that tells you where we're going here. You look at it, it's going to be Shesterkin and Murray in goal. I'm going to assume that that's what it is because neither team is on the second of a back-to-back and neither team is in the first of a back-to-back. They've got tomorrow off, Shesterkin and Murray. Also, both these teams are top 8 in fewest goals allowed. The Leafs only allowed 28.73 shots per game, 29.26 for the Rangers. When you're playing well defensively and you've got and your goalies are playing well, you can't ask for anything better than allowing less than 30 shots on goal if your goalie can't stop it, can't stop them. Conversely, we look at the teams that get lit up, like Anaheim and Columbus, and they're allowing 38 and 35 shots on goal. You might think 6 or 7 shots, 8 shots is not a lot. It is in a normal NHL game. I like the under here. I'd also lean to the Leafs. They are starting to put a very good run together at home. And if you look, they're the second best home team in the East right now, behind only Boston, who just doesn't seem to lose ever. I don't mind laying the -60 with the Leafs in this one. 5 straight wins at home, and they've beaten some pretty good teams, with the exception of maybe the Detroit Red Wings. In doing that, Winnipeg, Nashville, Florida. So I'm good with taking the Leafs in this one, laying the 160, and I like the under. Prez?
I'm with both of you guys. I see no reason to take to bet the side on this game. The line is too high from my perspective. The Rangers are a good team and a team that is hungry and in dire need of wins. They're in the thick of things just to make the playoffs. When both of these teams are at their best, and Andrew mentioned it about the Leafs, these games should go under, and I think we're going to get their best from both of them tonight. You look at the Rangers; they went over last game 6-2 against Florida. Before that, they were under 4 times in a row, and the Leafs are an under team all the way. The Rangers 20-26 to the under this year. The Leafs 20-27 to the under this year. Some of the guys in the chat room are writing that it's already 5.5. That is not true. I literally just bet that play while Carmine was speaking, and it was 6 -120. I love the under in this game, guys. I wouldn't go anywhere near the side here, and it's just one of those strange things where the Leafs don't need to win games right now at that desperateness that the Rangers do. Too much value on the Rangers. If I had to bet it, I'd take the Rangers, but I don't. I'm all about the under. And Jim Lloyd, we're friends now, dude. We're friends, baby. And he's now a CBB client. Jimbo!
There you go.
Lots of love.
There you go. Now you're buddies. Now you're buddies there. Look, the only thing that really would worry me would be the power plays. Both clubs have a really strong power play, especially their first units. So it's so frustrating if you have an under in a game and you see that most of the goals are power plays. It can be very, very frustrating. But If they stay out of the box, I'll look towards the under here. Let's jump into our next game. I'm going to go to Prez first here with this one. Carolina and Dallas. The Dallas Stars playing at home. They're off a loss to the Buffalo Sabres. Before that, though, they won 2 straight by a combined score of 8-0. Those were against Arizona and Los Angeles. And Carolina, you got to feel for Carolina. I mean, you got to feel for Max Pacioretty as well. The guy played, I think, 3 or 4 games. He comes back, and he has an Achilles injury again. And I believe he's now out for the season. You know, it's unbelievable to see that. You feel bad for the guy. It was almost a non-contact play. It's rough. I mean, look.
Let me explain rough to you, Andrew. Let me get my garbage man pulled his Achilles. And now my garbage man cannot work anymore. Now, I care more. Rough is when my $36,000 a year garbage man gets injured. Rough is not when the $10 million a year hockey player gets injured. I don't feel bad for these guys. It is not rough. Who gives a shit? They're multi-gazillionaires. They get to sweat all the time, which is like the greatest gift from God above. They play hockey. They sit in a dressing room with a bunch of males, hanging out, talking, laughing, discussing their sex lives. No, dude. I feel bad for the garbage man who hurt his Achilles.
Prez, don't try and demean me for saying that it's rough for a team that a player went out. I know what rough is. I've seen rough.
No, you didn't say it was rough for the team. You said you feel bad for Max Pacioretty. I don't feel bad for Max.
Am I not allowed to feel bad for a guy?
I'll trade lives with that guy any day of the week. Any day of the week. He wants to be the Prez, I'll be Max.
Okay, so apparently if somebody's loaded rich, I can't have sympathy for them. I'll take note of that. Look, as far as this game is concerned,
now you're not going to have sympathy for me. Damn. Okay, let's rewind.
Can we keep this show on rails, Prez? Come on,
Carm,
let's go.
I might need Carm to just take over for a second. Okay, look, when I look at this game, ultimately, I think the Carolina Hurricanes, they aren't the same team they were probably about a few weeks ago, and it's simple. They're a team that was actually not playing their best defense, and they've gotten back into that style of hockey again. We know what Carolina is like. It's why they're good in the playoffs, guys. And they're minus 115 tonight. We've got Dallas minus 105. Dallas, Prez, I've been saying this all year long. I'm disappointed in myself for not backing them enough this year.
Yeah.
But it's a reasonable price here on Carolina. What do you think in this one?
Listen, I'm not going to take Carolina here. They're off 2 wins in a row for their last 5. This is one of those spots where, look, I think Carolina's a better team. I think if they play 7 games in the Stanley Cup Finals because they're in different conferences, Carolina wins. But I don't think this is a great spot for Carolina. I like Dallas here. Dallas has won 2 in a row before the overtime loss against Buffalo. It was a bad spot against Buffalo. It's a bounce-back game for them. And I think they got, as Marco calls it, a fat and sassy Carolina Hurricane team coming in there playing really good hockey. I'm not personally going to bet this game, but if I had to, I would take the Dallas Stars. I think that's a short number at home with a team that really, just these guys have the same record. This Dallas team is way, way better than I expected coming into the season. And like you, Andrew, I regret not betting on them a lot this year.
Carmen, in Carolina's last 5 games, they've only allowed more than 2 goals just once, and they've really upped their defensive game. When Dallas looks to bounce back off a loss, do you expect maybe more of a low-scoring game and a tight game here in this one?
I think it'll be a tight game for sure. These are 2 very good teams, much like that first game. Where I like the under. I'm along the same lines here. You look at the Canes only allowed 26 shots on goal per game, 31 for Dallas, and you look at the goalies. It should be Anderson and Ottinger, and Anderson's 4-0 since coming back. He hasn't allowed more than 2 goals. I think it's 3 games where he allowed 2 goals, 1 with 1. And Ottinger, you look at these stats, and these 2 teams are almost the complete opposite in their last 10 and 15 games. The Stars are 7-2-1 to the under their last 10, 10-3-2 to the under in their last 15. That's assuming a line of 6, which the game is at tonight. And then it's the polar opposite for the Hurricanes, 9-1 to the over their last 10 and 11-4 their last 15. But again, you look at who they played. Now you got two very good defensive teams that don't take a lot of penalties. I think Carolina's fourth or fifth fewest penalty minutes per game. And I don't expect anything from the power plays. I just think that these are two very good teams playing extremely well. You look at them, they're right at the top of the standings in both divisions, right at the top or near. And it just seems like it's going to be one of those defensive battles. Both teams want the points here. The Sabres played extremely well against Dallas, but I don't think it's a bounce back spot for Dallas. I think it's a spot where they could lose another game. A little bit of money has been coming in this morning on Carolina, and it's probably for a reason. They're a very, very good team. If they can, when the playoffs come, we'll see how good a team they are. But as far as I'm concerned, I like Carolina in this one. I like the under.
I like the under quite a bit. That's where I'm going to go. As from my official play there, I'm looking towards Carolina and the under. Looking for a really good, big defensive game. And I wonder here with the LTIR, with kind of what Tampa started a few years ago, if Carolina will be more active at the trade deadline and picking up maybe more players, since they'll have a lot of free cap space on their team with a few injuries they've piled up, because that could certainly be a factor. And I got a feeling, guys, I really do have a feeling that this year it's always so underwhelming and they hype it up. But this year, the trade deadline in the NHL, it could be entertaining. We could see a couple pickups for a couple big teams trying to make a run in the playoffs. So look forward to seeing what happens there. But this should be a good game, Carolina and Dallas. Let's talk about a team that is playing what Carm calls the Alberta double. The Columbus Blue Jackets are taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton, wow, minus 400. Columbus plus 310. Total at 6.5. If you're looking at most shops right now, even if you want a good price in the puck line, you got to go minus 2.5 on Edmonton. Not even just the minus 1.5 there. Of course, the total at 6.5 is shaded towards the over at minus 130. But there was a lot of hype going into the last game for Columbus. Of course, it was Johnny Gaudreau's first game back in Calgary. He got some claps. He got some boos. It was an emotional game for him. The team rallied around him. They ended up coming back and going to overtime. But, guys, honestly, I got to say that as much as I think it was a decent effort from Columbus, I just don't think that Calgary is the team that I thought they were. I mean, Daryl Sutter wants them to be a good defensive team. It's time to realize that they just aren't as good defensively as they want to be, or as we've seen them be, and Edmonton, actually, if you take a look at some of their statistics, their goaltenders have actually picked it up a little bit. I mean, everyone loves to laugh at Jack Campbell and his glove hand. He's playing a lot better recently. Stuart Skinner, he had some time off due to having a kid recently. He came back, played really well. This is a spot to me, guys, where I honestly don't want to think twice about it. I think Edmonton went through a really, really, really good run, and now it gets even easier for them with this really light schedule they have. And Carm, we've talked about forecasting. You don't want to just make these picks ahead of time. I don't want to lock these in ahead of time, but it's nice to know which teams have a harder schedule coming up or an easier schedule. And I think this is a really good game for Edmonton to show what they can do, flex their muscles, and take down the Columbus Blue Jackets. It almost makes me more interested in betting this one on Edmonton, guys. The fact that Columbus is actually off a game where they played okay, because I don't think they can have repeat efforts like that. What do you think, Carm?
Yeah, it's funny because when we talk about, the Oilers, they've won, 6 straight, and we talked about their favorable schedule. This is literally their schedule. I think I mentioned it the other day. They play Columbus tonight, then they play the Blackhawks at home in Edmonton. They play Detroit, Philadelphia, Ottawa, Montreal, Detroit again, and then they're back home to play the Rangers. So that's it. It's literally theirs for the next 5 or 6 games. These are games they should be winning. They shouldn't drop any points, and it probably puts them at the top of the Pacific division at that point if they've strung together 11 or 12 games. Now, I want to use like a soccer phrase or a soccer thing, because I'm going to do the VAR symbol, because these plays I'm about to give you just seem square, but I just think Columbus might have emptied the tank in Calgary. It was a big game with Gaudreau going back. You look at it, Edmonton team total. Andrew, we talked about this. Edmonton team total is 4.5 plus 120. The minus 1.5 is minus 145. Over 6.5. I think Edmonton does all the scoring tonight, and this game could still go over the total. We look at shot props, and this is the scary one because I don't like laying this kind of juice, but it's interesting. I have juice tolerance. You guys can decide if you want to do it. Connor McDavid, over 3.5 shots on goal. He's gone over that number 9 of his last 10 games, but you have to lay $1.65. I can't lay $1.65, Andrew. So those are the same game parlay props if you can actually put them together. Team total over 4.5 for Edmonton is plus money. That's probably the one I'll key in on as far as the show goes. I think this is a one-sided game tonight.
You know, when you take a look at really a matchup like this, Prez, you try and figure out if it is one of those ones you don't want to think twice about, or if there could be an upset brewing. What do you think here in this one? How do you approach it?
Well, listen, I didn't hear a word Carm said. I was thinking about when I did the Alberta double back in university. Andrew, was one of the best nights of my life. I mean, Melissa and Michelle, both from Calgary, one at the same time as the other. I mean, those were the good old days, my friend. Those were the good old days. As for your statement about the Calgary Flames, I think the Sharpay is not a good coach anymore. I think he was a good coach back when he wasn't the Sharpay, but now time has passed him by. So I'm with you on this Calgary, on that Calgary statement. Listen, let me bottom line this, guys. Andrew and Carmine, I was too busy thinking about my Alberta double. You guys mentioned all the reasons why Edmonton is going to win. This team is on fire. 6 games in a row. They're in a playoff chase. That those wild card spots. There's so many teams vying for them. They need to keep winning. This Columbus team is horrific. They're going to be right there with Anaheim and Chicago for the Bedard sweepstakes. We could list 100 reasons why Edmonton will win, and all 100 are baked into a minus 400 line. If I'm betting this game, if I'm taking a side in this game, I'm taking Columbus. So I'm not with you guys at all. They're plus 3 million. This Columbus team played good hockey against Calgary. And the bottom line is, we see this all the time in hockey. The Leafs go out and beat Tampa Bay, Florida, the New York Rangers, Boston, and Carolina come home and lose 5-2 to Arizona. Teams struggle to get up for these type of games. I think, and Carm listed their schedule. It is an easy schedule. They are going to lose some of those games. They start tonight. I'm not going to bet this game, but if I'm not betting the side here, but if I was, I would take Columbus.
Andrew, Prez mentioned it's baked into the line. I think the Prez is baked this morning because if he's taking Columbus, he's got to be baked.
Well, I'm not, I'm doing a Dave Koken taking Columbus. With the arms back on the chair, going. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, Golden Eagle, guys. The Golden Eagle gave us a $20 tip. Thank you, awesome. Golden Eagle. Yes, Andrew will use it to build some hair between his.
But one other point I wanted to mention, Andrew, when I talked about the, and I'm not playing it just because the vig is too high. 165 for a shot prop for me. 150 is the highest I go. But Columbus is the second worst team when it comes to shots on goal allowed at 35.15 shots on goal per game allowed. So those are the teams you normally want to look for shot props to bet against. And I've been doing it successfully for the last little while, just basically going against the Ducks like I did last night with Keller and Clayton Keller and going against Columbus. So we'll see. McDavid probably gets there. 9-1 his last 10. If you're betting 165, you're even at laying 165, you're still profitable over your last 10 games. So we'll see where that goes tonight, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Zach Hyman is playing very, very well. Obviously, Evander Kane has come back from his injury. He's playing really well, but we really appreciate that tip, and we'll always try and put it to a good spot. I think we'll probably put it towards some Viagra for Prez. He keeps talking about getting things up and teams getting things up. So I don't want to hear more about his home life, but
we spoke about Viagra.
We spoke
about Viagra on Wager
show.
Talk today. I've never done it, but Teddy has. Guys, Andrew, in the chat room, everyone's saying Prez is going into a slump. It's over for the Prez. He's too cocky. His voice is he's full of vim and vigor. It's time. He's having a regression. Perfect time to buy my plays, guys. If you are absolutely convinced that I'm going into a slump, buy my plays and bet against them. You can buy them over at wagertalk.com. Sorry, Andrew.
Prez, if you weren't being cocky, I would call you out for the show and ask you, is everything all right? That's just how people, everybody is who they are.
Carm wants me to move on.
Everybody is who they are. So
I'm done.
Okay. All right. We've got one more game, then we've got best bets at the end of the show. And this one is one that we should have some interesting takes on here. And I think I'm going to surprise some people with my take on this game. Vancouver and Seattle. Prez, we are going to go right back to you with this one here. Of course, Rick Tocchet takes over as the head coach of Vancouver. Bruce Boudreau handled the whole situation. It was handled very poorly by the organization. I was not happy to see it. But, of course, what better team would you rather face in your first game as a head coach than the Chicago Blackhawks? And that's exactly what Rick Tocchet got to do yesterday for the Vancouver Canucks. But now they are plus 140. We're seeing Seattle minus 165. It is a back-to-back here.
Wow.
Seattle playing at home. How do you approach this game, Prez? Can they go on a run?
Listen, I've lost a lot of games on Vancouver this year because I've been high on the team. I bet them last night as a 4% play. I released it to my clients. There was a time when they were out shooting Chicago 37-10, and the game was tied. And I was like, oh, no. Here we have a situation where I think Vancouver is loaded with talent, man. Like, bottom line, this team up and down the lineup has talent. I think they go on a run, Andrew. At plus 160 I'm seeing out there. There's a lot of value on that. I hate that it's a back-to-back, but I think this team has to feel very re-energized, if you will. I like the over in this game as well. And frankly, I think if you bet Vancouver and the over, at worst, you're going to go 1-1. I think Vancouver is going to be a bet on team moving forward. I'm not suggesting that they make the playoffs or anything. They're way back, but hey, we saw St. Louis do it a few years ago. There's too much talent on this Vancouver team to not look at them when they're playing not the best teams in the league, but good teams and still getting such a big number. Seattle in the over.
Carm, what do you think here in this one?
I'm not sure in the over, Andrew. But we talked about the coaching change yesterday briefly, even though we didn't cover the Vancouver game with Tocchet there, and they played a lot better. But they also did play Chicago. Chicago had 14 shots on goal, 14 shots, not in one period, in all three periods. Yeah. 6 in the first, 4 in the second, 4 in the third, and on top of that, had 5 power plays and still only had 14 total shots on goal. You're going to win games when you only allow 14 shots on goal. Seattle's a different team. They are competing. They are playing extremely well. We'll see what happens, and that's why the price is where it is. As far as a back-to-back for Vancouver, they're 4-4, so there's no real data that supports it one way or the other. They're 4-4 on the second of back-to-backs, and Seattle's had like 3 days off. Jones has been exceptional. This is a guy again that we used to joke around wasn't very good but he was with Philadelphia, who weren't playing very well. But he's like 21-6 or something like that. I actually like the Seattle team total. It's 3.5 minus 130, and they're going to get a lot more shots on goal than the Canucks allowed yesterday. I just don't know if the Canucks get there. The Canucks team total is at 2.5. I don't know. It's Spencer Martin in goal tonight. He's lost 7 straight games, I think, for Vancouver. I have no faith in him right now. They need to get Demko back. Demko's back skating with the team, but without equipment on. And they're talking about the fact that he could go on that 5-game road trip. They need him back in goal because the duel of D'Elia and Spencer Martin are not going to win you games on a regular basis. You need Demko back in goal. So with that said, Seattle team total for me here over 3.5 minus 130.
All right, Carm, I hope this can be one of those scenarios where you have a team total, I have a full game total, or vice versa. That's happened before with us, and they're a little bit different. Hopefully we can find a way that both of us can win, guys. I like the full game under 6.5 here tonight, Canucks and Kraken. Look, last night it's hard for us to really know how well the Canucks played because they played the Chicago Blackhawks, right? And also, they might have outshot the Blackhawks that much in the first period, but as Prez mentioned, they didn't really do much with it. What I'm looking for under a new head coach isn't as much of an inspired effort offensively. It's an inspired effort defensively. A lot of the times when you look at a team, when they bring in a new coach, the systems they're bringing in aren't for offensive plays. It's for defensive responsibilities. And getting ready for this show, I watched the entire press conference before and after with Rick Tocchet talking about his Canucks team. And the biggest thing he talked about was tracking back checking, getting to your spots, and making sure everybody knows what their responsibilities are. And I think Seattle has a great goaltending duo. They do play well defensively. When they first started their team, they built from the back. I know it's a back-to-back here for the Canucks, but I think we could see a low-scoring battle. I want to mention again, of course, about the JT Miller prop. He's a guy that's gone over, I think, now in 8 of his last 10 games. He's someone I was on last night, cashed in the first period over shots on goal. They still have his number at 2.5, which is kind of shocking to me, but I'll continue to bet that for JT Miller, especially if the Vancouver Canucks are playing a team that they think they can have a decent crack at putting some shots up against. But that's my best bet on the show. Vancouver, Seattle under 6.5 goals, expecting a really good defensive effort out of both clubs. And again, I mentioned it earlier, but I am on a 12-2 tennis totals run, guys. And it's the Aussie Open right now, coming to an end. But I'm on a 12-2 totals run. I have a 5% play up at Wager Talk for that. Goes late tonight or early tomorrow morning, depending on where you are living right now. But Prez, over to you for your best bet and what you have going on tonight.
Andrew, as I said at the beginning of the show, I got a 4% NHL total. There is no play that I have put out in the last 2 years more consistent than my 4% NHL totals. I'm 67% on the year in these totals, and I'm on a 29-9 run. Now, I understand the people in the chat room are like, oh, he's being cocky, he's bragging. No, I'm literally just telling you what it is. That's what it is. I also have some basketball plays up, and we've already discussed my basketball run. As for a best bet on tonight, a game we didn't discuss, the New York Islanders on the road playing Ottawa. I really like the under in this game. I like it a lot. 22-25 to the under for the New York Islanders. Ottawa, one of the stone-cold under teams in all of hockey. 17 overs, 29 unders. You take a look at the New York Islanders. This is a team that has not put up more than 2 goals in their last 4 games, and that's against teams that score. Ottawa, even worse. 1 goal, 5-1-0. 1 game in their last 5 over 1 goal. I love the under in this play. Thank you for having me, guys. Everybody, Wager Talk today at 12 o'clock. Andrew, you don't need me for the rest of the show. I'm going to bug out. Love you guys.
We are good. Thanks, Prez. Always entertaining. A good way to start off our days. That's for sure. Karma might need therapy after this show, man. But let us know what you have going on tonight, Carm.
Yeah, two plays this afternoon in soccer, and 3 plays up in the NHL for tonight. Let's see if we can keep this good run that we've been on the last week to 10 days. And as far as the best bet tonight, I am going to go to that last game that we talked about, the Seattle-Vancouver game. And Andrew, I'm going to throw a player's name. Let's try not to get this one all screwed up. Oliver Bjorkstrand. Hopefully I got that right. Over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 130. His last 10 games or so, he's been much better with his shots on goal, but it's also because his minutes are up 2 to 3 minutes more per game. Also, obviously more shifts, and he's getting pucks on goal. He's on that number one line. So I'm going to look at him to get him tonight against a Vancouver team that, while they only allowed 14 shots against it yesterday, it was against Chicago. Could be tired legs. We'll see. Seattle's going to get a lot of pucks on goal tonight, and I think Bjorkstrand is part of that. So over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 130, your show best bet.
You know, I love those props. I love it when we talk about them on the show, and I love when they make the best bet segment. Awesome stuff there, Carm, and congratulations on your great run. You can find all of us guys over at wagertalk.com. Do us a favor, comment below. Let us know what your picks are for tonight. Hit the like button on YouTube. Download the Wager Talk. And other than that, we'll see you guys tomorrow. This has been Puck Time.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Wager Talk? If not, here's your chance. You can take 50% off your first daily or 3-day all-access purchase at Wager Talk using coupon code TRYWT. Our new roster of experts is 30 deep, covering sports from all around the world, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem this offer is go to wagertalk.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, and use coupon code TRYWT at checkout, saving 50% on your first purchase.